Please make sure.
I'm not sure if we did one like this yesterday. I can't remember. Which two lines must be parallel if ...
Of this period.
So let's do the first one together. 13 is congruent to 15.
Documenting and taking attendance.
And I'm actually going to change this. Okay, I like that better. All right, 13 is congruent to 15. If 13 is congruent to 15, those are corresponding angles. Sorry, trying to get this. Those are corresponding angles. They're supposed to be congruent. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, so we know we have a set of parallel lines. Now we just have to decide which lines are parallel. And what you need to ask yourself is which line could we erase from our picture and we would still have angle 13 and we would still have angle 15. Which line could we erase from our picture and we would still have 13 and still have 15? So we could erase line C, and 13 and 15 are still intact. Now since line C is gone, it's a no-brainer. Which lines are parallel? Well, the only two left that even look parallel, A is parallel to B. So that's how I work those problems. I try to decide which line I could get rid of, and then it'll be obvious which ones are parallel after that, okay? Okay, Austin, let's stop distracting my students. We're starting class now. All right, so I want you to do 2, 3, and 4, and we'll talk about it in a minute. All right, let's talk about these. What did y'all get for number 2? If 7 is congruent to 4, which two lines must be parallel? Good, I did not trick y'all. None, and I'll talk about it in a minute. If 3 is supplementary with 15, if 3 is supplementary with 15, which two lines must be parallel? And finally, if 5 and 9 are supplementary, which two lines must be parallel? Also, C, parallel to D. Can I answer any questions about number 2, about how vertical angles have nothing to do with parallel lines? Is that okay? Because these are vertical angles, 7 and 4, those being congruent does not depend on lines being parallel. Those do not make anything parallel. Vertical angles happen just when two lines cross. You don't need to have parallel lines to make vertical angles. Just move closer to the camera. Okay, you checking your answers? Proving lines parallel. Which ones would you like me to work, guys? That was kind of confusing. On number 14, can x be negative 20? We can talk about that. Anna, you want me to do 13? And Rishi? Number 10. Okay. So ready? We're all looking at number 9 right now. Number 9 says, determine if AC is parallel to DF, and then state the conditional statement that supports your answer. So on number 9, EDF is 28, EDA is 100, and CAD is 54. Now if this is our transversal, then these angles, this guy and this guy, those are same side interior angles. Same side interior angle starts with an S, so they're supposed to be supplementary. So all we have to do is confirm whether they're supplementary or not. So 54 plus 128, and we know that that does not equal 180. It equals 182. And so we would put they are not parallel, and then we would say if same side interior angles are not supplementary, then our lines are not parallel. That would be the statement that justifies, okay? That's like saying the original is true, the original conditional statement's true, but the inverse is not true. Or, no, actually the inverse is true as well. This is the inverse of the original. You put a not and a not, and that's how we justified our answer. Okay, next one. BAC is 35. Bad is 61, so that whole angle is 61. And ADE is 119. And ADF, getting messy, is 144. What we need to do is we need to find some angles that we know go into one of our two categories. And remember, we're not trying to prove AB parallel to ED. That's not what we're trying to prove. We're still trying to prove that this one is parallel to this one. So what I would do is, let's see, probably have to use these angles right here. Probably going to have to use angle 1 and angle 2 unless someone else tells me differently. So let's find the measure of angle 1. So we're going to do 61 minus 35, and we get 26. Angle 1 is 26 degrees. And then angle 2 would be 180 minus 144. I'm sure there's another way to do this, but this is the one that I thought of first. Angle 1 and angle 2 are corresponding angles. They are corresponding. They're supposed to be congruent. But I just found that angle 1 is 26 and angle 2 is 36. So they're not congruent. So that's why this one is also not parallel. And my justification would be, if corresponding angles are not congruent, then our lines are not parallel. I just put a line through parallel for not parallel. Okay. Good question, Anna. These statements justifying our answer are good practice for when we're going to start writing proofs in congruent triangles. So no, you don't have to know how to write them exactly for this unit right now, but you will have to do that for congruent triangles, so it is good practice. Okay guys, I already made a video for 14, so the only thing you were asking me about was why the negative x wasn't one of the answers. Is that what you're asking me about? On number 14, why can't x be negative 20? So the reason why, because that was the other thing you got when you factored it. If you plug negative 20 in here, you're okay, right? But if you plug negative 20 in here, 4 times negative 20 plus 20, that's going to get you a negative number. And we already learned that we don't have negative angles in this class. So that's why. Okay? Number 13. Angle 2 and angle 5. Angle 2 and angle 5 are alternate interior angles. So we know that that does not start with an S, therefore they're congruent. 2/3 x minus 16 equals 24. What I recommend, because a lot of us don't like fractions, is you multiply every single thing by 3. Multiply the whole equation by 3. The 3's are going to cancel right there. The 3 will still be there, but it's going to cancel out that bottom 3. So it's going to be 2x minus 48 equals 72. So then you just do 72 plus 48 divided by 2, and that's how you get x is 60. Okay? Any additional questions about the homework? Sometimes we keep the -1 and sometimes we don't. You just have to plug it into both angles and make sure you still get positive answers. Okay? Start some constructions. Now, last time we pulled these handy-dandy compasses out, we learned how to copy a segment and how to find the perpendicular bisector of a segment. So we learned those two things, how to copy and how to find the perpendicular bisector of a segment. Guess what we're going to do today? It's going to be the same exact thing, except it's going to be with angles this time. So we're going to let the website do it perfectly for us, and then I will do it on the board, and then I want you to do it on your worksheet, okay? So here is how you copy an angle. You have to start with a ray, but your worksheet already has a ray. You open your compass and you make an arc. Then you go over to your ray and you make the same exact arc. Then you put your needle and your pencil the width of the angle, and you put your needle down there and you make an arc. That was not very good description. I will never be a sportscaster. Okay? I'm going to do one more time. Watch it again if you didn't watch it the first time. So, you draw a ray, but your ray is already drawn. Open the compass however big you want. Make an arc. Make the identical arc on your ray. Put the needle and the pencil about how wide the angle is. Make the exact same arc and connect the dots. Okay, now I'm going to show you. So you're still not touching your compass. You are not touching your compass. Okay, so step one, put your needle on the vertex and make an arc. And then you go down to your ray and you make the same exact arc. Then what's really important is you need to put your needle on one side and your pencil on the other. Do you notice how mine is not open the correct amount right now? It's not. So I need to open this a little bit more because I need my pencil to be on the intersection where the arc meets the angle. That's good enough for me. Bring it down here, put the needle right there where the arc intersects the ray, and connect the dots, but you're going to use a straight edge, but I don't have my straight edge out, so there we go. Then this angle should be congruent to this angle. I was pretty close. Should be congruent. So now you can go ahead and try to copy angle A and do number 1. I'm going to let the computer show you first, and then I'll show you on the smartboard. So, surprise, surprise, you start by making an arc. They made 2 separate arcs, but it can just be one arc. Doesn't matter. Put the needle on the intersection, put the needle on the other intersection, and then boom, connect the dots. So this one is kind of just easier. Alright, let me show you in a little bit slower motion. Okay, so you always start by putting your needle on the vertex. You make an arc. You put your needle at the intersection. You make an arc. You put your needle at the other intersection. And, oops, come on. You make your other arc. So your needle is going to go here, A first, then your needle goes here, then your needle goes here. You never change your compass setting. You never make it bigger or smaller. You keep the same radius each time. Keep the same radius each time. You don't need to know how to add angles for tomorrow, but really you would just copy the angle, and then you would just copy the other angle adjacent to the angle you had already copied. We're not going to spend time doing that. So if you need more help, your textbook does it for you, but that's not as good as the interactive video. Those videos that the website I showed you is under my homework help, under angles. So watch those tonight if you need to. And the next thing that you would do in the rest of class is just work on your parallel line diagrams worksheet. It's kind of just a fun enrichment thing that we're doing. There are a couple things that you have to know before you can do that worksheet. And I bet you already knew these things, and that's why I called them reminders. Just a reminder, the angles of a triangle add up to, good job, Relina. The angles of a triangle add up to 180. So you need to use that knowledge on the parallel line diagrams. And the isosceles triangle theorem. If 2 sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite those sides are congruent. So you're actually going to need to use that on your parallel line diagrams. If 2 sides have tick marks, then the angles opposite the tick marks are congruent. So that is really important. I have nothing else to teach you today.